Hello, you guys. Happy Tuesday, which feels like a Monday. I hope everyone had a really good long weekend. Hopefully, you had some time to rest, relax, enjoy a day off yesterday of the gym, and spend time with friends, family, catching up, cleaning, laundry, all the things, right? So, it's a beautiful day. I actually have a blanket on sitting outside, doing a little bit of the computer work, back end stuff, but I wanted to just come on here and say good morning to everyone, and just kind of just give a little, I think maybe just a little bit of encouragement, right, as we start a new short week. So going into, it's a new month, right? It's a kind of a weird time because September 1st was, what day is it? I don't even, Sunday, right? But Sunday felt weird because it was a long weekend. So anyways, it's a new month. It feels like a new season, but we never know how long we're getting this break in our heat. So enjoy it while we've got it, right, before it gets cold. But I always think a new month is a great time to reflect. I was just filling out, I'll have to show you guys this. I just started doing this with my workouts to help myself. I'm a visual person, so anytime I can write anything out, I love it. So I print off multiple of these calendars, and then what I do, so I just got like a blank one here. I do this for our meal plan for the month, for our dinners. I do this for workouts. Sometimes I do it for our bills and things like that, so I know what's coming out when. But anytime I can just write things down, it's really helpful to then look back. Like I was looking at my August workout, and it's helpful to look back and go, okay, what did I plan for that I actually did, right? What did I plan for that I didn't do? Why didn't I do it? How can I adjust this month to do the things I want to do, whether or not I feel like it, right? So that has been really helpful for me. Again, I love planning. I love goals. I love a fresh start, a fresh week, a fresh month, all of it, right? New Year's, I love it. I have a whole system I do for New Year's that takes about a day. So I'll share that later. But one thing, again, I think just looking back, we rarely stop, right, and look back to see what went well. We're so future focused, we're so busy, we're so go, that we don't typically sit down to reflect upon what went well. What did I do well this past month? For a lot of us, the kids went back to school a month ago, and so we're now 4 weeks into a new routine. So maybe that is what went well, right? You got kids back to school, you got back into your routine, whatever that is, right? So write down what went well in August, and that can look like financially, right? Maybe you got on a budget for the first time ever, and you wrote down what's coming in and what's going out, and and you feel in control, somewhat maybe of your finances, right? Maybe it's your workouts, maybe it's committing to, whether you have the 8 workouts a month, maybe you have unlimited and you're like, okay, I want to get the most out of this, right? If you have the Studio 8 membership, we should see you at least, right, 7 to 8 times a month. If you have unlimited, take advantage of that, right? It makes sense if you can come at least 3 to 4 times a week. So schedule that out. Look and see, what does that look like for me, right? What workouts do I enjoy? How does that work with my schedule? How can I get there to be consistent, to get the most out of my membership, right? And that can look like anything. Wherever it is that you feel like there's tension or struggle, or you just can't seem to make progress, writing things down like this gives you actual data, because sometimes in our mind we're like, 2 ways, right? You can be like, I'm killing it in this area of your life, but then when you actually look at the data, you're like, oh, I'm actually not, right? Like, I actually think I'm doing better than I really am, right? So that's a good reflection. Or the opposite, when we can say, like, I'm so hard on myself. I know as moms, I feel like we can do this. Like, we're so hard on ourselves as mothers, and it's like, oh, I'm not giving my kids enough attention. I need to do this, I need to do that. And then when you really look back and you think about the time you spent with them, or the intentional time you had with them, it was much more than you actually gave yourself credit for. So wherever it is, where you're at, again, write down what went well in August, right? What went well? And then on the flip side of that, it's like, where did I struggle? Where did I lack consistency? Where did I lack discipline? Where did I lack, just again, where you see yourself not making the progress that you want to make? Where is that like tension, right? Maybe that looks like, this is just an example, but again, maybe it's like, okay, I know I want to eat healthier, but I don't have a plan. Therefore, I go run through the drive-through more times a week than I would like, right? So that's a conflict. So how do you backwards that, right? Hey, Carrie, how do you go backwards into going, okay, if I want to eat healthier, I need to have a plan, and I need to have a plan. I need to actually execute the plan, right? So there's many, many steps that go into a certain goal, right? From writing down your recipes you're going to make, going to the store, buying the ingredients, coming home, actually prepping the ingredients, right? There's many steps to that goal. So just looking to see what went well, what didn't go well. And then 3 is like, how can I improve this month? And I think oftentimes, especially when I'm meeting with somebody brand new, I have them cut their goals in half. And it feels backwards, right? You feel like I should be like, no, add more, do more. But it's really like, okay, how do we just move the needle a little bit in that right direction? Because the momentum will come then if we can be consistent. But if we overestimate what we can do and then we set ourselves up to fail, we just quit because it's too hard. We've already failed. We feel terrible about ourselves, all those negative things, right? Versus saying, no, I can commit to fill in the blank, right? If walking and your steps maybe haven't been where you want them to be, set a realistic goal that you can do every single day. You might do more than that, right? But if you don't, if you have a day where you're like, this is everything in me just to get to this goal, what is that number? That is now your floor, right? And that's what we try to aim for. And if you do more, great, right? But if you don't feel like you're failing. So I just think, again, at the end of a month, beginning of a new month, it's a good time to just really take into account where we're at, what goals we have coming up. I know it's crazy to think, but I was looking up a few things. We have about 60 days until Halloween, which is crazy, right? We have 2 months until Halloween. We have about 85 until Thanksgiving, and then we have a little bit over 110 until Christmas. So with those in mind, at least when I heard those numbers, I'm like, okay, that time of year gets bonkers, right? It gets so crazy. And a lot of times we can use those 3 days to avoid doing anything until January 1st, which is so silly when you think about it, right? A few meals and a few holidays shouldn't derail the next 4 months of our lives, but it can if we let it, right? If we don't have a plan, if we're not intentional. So being mindful of what's coming, right? Getting in those habits now. I talked about this in my last video, I feel like, was just getting into those habits, staying accountable to those habits now is going to set you up for so much success at the end of this year and going into 2025. So if you've never done this, I think it's a great place to start. Just a little bit of reflection, 10 minutes if you have it. Grab a notebook, just answer those 3 questions. What went well in August? What didn't? Right? And then what are some goals that you're going to set for yourself? Some habits. Honestly, I feel like actionable items are best. What are some steps you're going to take in September to get closer to that version of you that you're chasing? And when you're setting down those goals, realistic goals, the SMART acronym, right? Let's see if I can think of it off the top of my head. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So having a goal, again, that feels like I can do this, right? It's not the time to really stretch the goal. It's the time to say, okay, every day I can drink X amount of ounces of water. I'm looking at my Stanley. That's what you're sitting on. Or I'm taking X amount of steps every day, right? Because I matter. What I do, how I take care of my body, how I show up matters. You matter, right? You can only be as good to everyone else as you are to yourself. And so if you are not taking time to pour into you, no one else can do that for you, right? And you will be the better version of yourself when you do those things, and everyone around you will thank you, right? For taking care of yourself. So that is just my 2 cents of today. Make sure you get signed up for your classes this month. There is a slight change with our class times for that mid-morning class. In the summer, we bump it up to 10:15. And then in the school year, we keep it at 11:15. I know a few people have asked why. Really, it was when Jill and I were doing the summers, it helped mostly with our schedules and babysitting, and things like that with personal training and the way it all figured out and worked. In the school year, it works best to bump it down a little bit because, Marcia is teaching some days, Kayla's teaching some days, I'm teaching some days, right? We don't really have a backup for each other if it's that early, just due to our schedule. So it's best to bring it down. That way, if someone is sick, if a kid is sick, and we need to kind of be flexible, we have some options in that as I'm gone on Mondays for Bible study leadership. So I'm not able to be available until 11:15. So that has been a little bit helpful, and it's a little bit more helpful for our ladies that are using their lunch hour as their workout. So we can look at future times and things like that, but for this school year, that is what works best currently. So get signed up for classes, and hopefully I will see you guys in the studio soon. Have a wonderful week. Talk to you guys soon.